How do financial advisors get paid? I know it's a very scandalous subject for a financial advisor to be talking about, but that's what we're going to do today. We are going to dig into it. One of my side missions is to help people understand how the world of financial advice and financial planning works. And it's very complex and it's difficult to do. And one of the most common questions that people have in their minds that they might not even ask is, how does my financial advisor get paid? And it seems like something that you would want to know, right? You go to the gas station to get gas, you know how much you're paying. You go buy a shirt, you know how much you're paying. You buy life insurance, you know how much you're paying. But for some reason, many people don't know what they're paying for financial advice or products, and they don't know how we financial advisors get paid. So I am going to uncover it for you today. I'm going to talk to you about how financial advisors get paid. There are several different ways, and it can be confusing, and I'll try to simplify it for you. I want you to have the knowledge you need to make the decisions you need to make in regards to what you do with your money and your investments. And I think that working with an advisor is an extremely beneficial thing for most people, but there's a barrier to entry because of the misunderstanding of what we do, how we do it, how we get paid, and obviously some of the bad actors who are taking advantage of people in the world, which does happen, but I think it's rare. Unfortunately, we hear about it in the news, and so it makes people think that all financial advisors are bad. And I'm here to tell you they're not. And obviously I'm biased because I am one, but I think I'm a pretty good guy. So let's talk about how we get paid. There are primarily two ways that financial advisors get paid. And here's the caveat for this discussion, is that there is no good or bad. This is one of the issues I see with other financial advisors when we're talking to each other, is we think that our way is the only way, that anyone else's way is a bad way, and we're very good about telling everyone else how bad their way is. In a lot of things in the financial world, fees included, in my opinion, there is no good way or bad way. There are different ways that suit different levels of clients for different types of needs. Because financial advisor is a very general term. What you really want is someone to help you with what you need and for them to get compensated appropriately for the service that they are providing and for you to know what that compensation is. So the two primary ways that financial advisors get paid are via fees and via commissions, indirectly or directly. Fees and commissions, indirectly or directly. So we're going to walk through these very, very briefly to give you hopefully an understanding and some questions to ask should you be looking for a financial advisor of how they get paid and what they get paid. So let's start with commissions. Commissions are getting a bad name, and I don't think that's fair. For a long time, commissions were the only way that an advisor got paid, and commissions can be abused, and I want to explain to you how, but it doesn't mean that it's bad simply because the fee is a commission. A commission is a small percentage or dollar amount that an advisor gets paid for selling a product or a service. And the words here that have created some tension in people's minds are the words sales and commission. But let me break it down for you a little bit. Commissions aren't inherently bad. So for example, if I am someone who sells life insurance to a client who needs life insurance, is it bad that we get paid on that? I don't think so. We are providing a service for them if they know what they're paying and we get paid because they buy life insurance. That's not a bad thing. What happens though is commissions can be abused for a couple of different reasons. One is that they can create a bias. They don't always, but they can create a bias. And I want to give you an example. If you're buying a mutual fund, you're buying an investment. What you might not know is that one investment might pay a commission to an advisor that is higher than another investment might pay that same advisor. That is where the problem lies with commissions, is that sometimes there's variability in what the advisor gets paid based on their recommendation. That creates a bias, and therefore that is not in the best interest usually of the client. There are also commissions that are flat and level. So there are plenty of advisors who get paid via commissions, but they aren't getting paid in an abusive manner. So you can't say that all commissions are bad. You just want to know what the commission is if you are purchasing it. And you want to know that there's no bias in the recommendations that are being made to you by your advisor. And unfortunately, there are a few bad actors who are taking advantage of the system and making the rest of the people who get commissions look bad. So my opinion, commissions aren't bad. They just have the ability to create some bias, but they're necessary in certain circumstances. Typically, commissions are also used for any products that you purchase. And in our world, you are either getting products or you're getting services. And products mean life insurance, annuities, mutual funds, estate plans, anything that you would pay a fee to get something. That's a product. Those are tools. And then services are things like advice. And that's really what we're going to land on. One of the methods you can get paid is commissions. The other is via fees. And these are just two sides of the same coin. Fee is just a different way of stating what you're being charged, but typically the difference is a fee is for a service. A commission is usually for a product or a tool, such as a mutual fund or a life insurance contract or an annuity, but a fee is for a service such as investment advice. And the transition in our world is leaning heavily towards fee for service, which I think is a good thing because it creates a flat levelized system where no matter what investment I recommend to a client, my fee stays the same. The tricky part is it looks very, very similar. So let me give you an example in real life of how we structure our fees in our practice. Most of our clients come to us for investment advice and financial planning. So we have to structure that to where we're profitable so that we can serve clients, but also take care of them. So when a client begins working with us, often they are having us manage money for them. They are having us manage their investments. We charge a fee, which is a small percentage of the overall amount of money that we are managing for them. That is a fee for service. So it might be 1%. 1% of the money that we're investing on your behalf and managing covers our fee. And what that does is it allows us to grow with our clients if they grow, but it also allows us to recommend what's in the best interest of our client without any bias. We're all human beings trying to do the best we can, but if there's bias involved, it's natural to want to lean towards something that benefits you more. So with a flat fee structure, for instance, 1%, it doesn't matter which investment we use, we get paid the same thing. And I don't think there's a perfect model, but for us, it's all about what's in the best interest of the client and what allows us to keep our business running and to do the job we want to do to help people prepare for and enter retirement. So that's the way our system works. Now, that is indirect fee. I mentioned before that there's commissions and there's fees and there's direct and indirect. So if somebody comes to us and we're managing money for them, we're managing their investments, that fee is a fee, but they're not writing a check for it. They're not having it come out of their bank account every time. That is debited from their investment account indirectly every single quarter. So oftentimes people think that they might not be paying any money at all. I'm here to tell you, if you are getting something from someone, you are paying for it. You might not see it, or you might not know where it is, or it might be indirect or somewhat undercover, but it's there, I promise you. Same for us. It's an indirect fee, so it comes out of their investment account, but they're still paying it. We want them to know that. And oftentimes you can look on your statement and see the exact dollar amount that is coming out of your account on a regular basis. So that is an indirect fee. And you can have the combination of any of these. You can have direct commissions, indirect fees, direct fees. But for our clients, I can't speak for everyone else. Oftentimes, we are charging indirect fees. So they're paying us for investment advice. We're providing them that service, and those fees are then indirectly taken from their account on a quarterly basis and then stated and disclosed to them in their statements. I'm a very big believer in telling people up front, this is how we get paid and what we do for it. And I think if you can't answer that question in anything in life, you might want to look elsewhere. So there are two questions when it comes to the fee conversation of just saying, how and what do you get paid? And what do I get for that? I think you should know that as a consumer in whatever you're buying or whatever service you're purchasing. The alternative method to that is a direct fee. And I want to tell you what this is and what an example of it might be. Indirect means it's taken on your behalf from your account. A direct fee means that you are going to pay this out of pocket. And so you might write a check for the fee, or you might have it direct billed to your bank account in an ACH, or you might have it directly withdrawn from your account, but it is a direct fee. So when might you need this? Well, oftentimes people come and they might not have a significant amount of assets to invest. And that's okay. We want to be able to help people who need help. And that means that we don't want to have a minimum where we say, well, we only work with people if you have $1 million. That's not the case. There's always a way for somebody to work with a financial advisor if they want to. But oftentimes that means that we can't get paid indirectly through the investments. If you don't have any investments, or if you have a very low level of investments, that doesn't mean you don't deserve good advice and good information and good financial planning. It just means that the business can't get paid that way because the money doesn't support it. The alternative is a direct fee. So we might charge someone a direct fee and send them an invoice every quarter. So let's say that somebody comes to us and says, I need help preparing for retirement. And this is specifically for our firm. I can't speak to everyone else's. And they say, I have no retirement accounts. I haven't saved anything. I don't have any investments. Oftentimes that person would get turned away. And it's completely understandable because there's no money that can be paid if you're charging indirectly on money that's not there, right? 1% of zero is still zero. So we have to get paid somehow. And I think one of the things we've done wrong in our industry is trying to hide the methodology, the reasons, and the why we get paid. So we just tell people this is what we get paid. It's so that we can be profitable. And if we're profitable, we can grow and we can help more people. If we don't get paid and we do everything free, then our business will cease to exist and we won't be able to help anyone. And that doesn't do our clients any good. So we want to be able to help people. So that person who doesn't have money enough to cover the fee, oftentimes a firm will have a minimum fee they need to make in whatever capacity to be able to keep the lights on and the doors open. If they don't have enough investments to cover that, sometimes, for instance, in our firm, we can bill them that fee if they want to. And it doesn't always make sense for people. Let's say that the fee is $6,000 a year, so $2,000 a quarter. There are some people who aren't going to be able to afford that or don't find the value in that, and that's completely okay. But what it does is it creates options for people of all different types of economic backgrounds and stages of life to be able to get financial advice if they feel like they're going to get value for what they're paying. And that's really the key to all of this, is understanding the value you're getting for what you're paying. And so for that person, having the ability to bill them directly, they cut a check or they have it directly withdrawn from their bank account, provides another service model to where we can be profitable and they can get the services and the investment advice that they need. In summary, it's not as confusing as it might seem, although it can be confusing. There are direct and indirect fees, and there are fees and commissions. And obviously there's some nuance to each of those, but that should give you a little bit of a rundown as to how advisors get paid. I think one of the best questions in anyone who is interviewing a financial advisor to consider working with them is, how do you get paid? What do you get paid? And what do I get for that money? I think those are very valid questions. And if an advisor doesn't want to answer those questions, I would head for the hills because they have something they're trying to hide. We should be proud of the work we do, and we are, and we should want our clients to know what we're paying and what they're getting for that payment. So I hope this provides a little bit of clarity in terms of how financial advisors get paid. Feel free to ask questions. There's links below. Love to hear from you. Love to talk to new people and hear your story.